Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Blindside Fresno. My name is Darcy Elliott and we are talking today about gift ideas for blind and low vision individuals. I have three expert guests with us today. The first is Mr. Tom Randall. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And we have Mr. William Elliott, also the producer of our show.
Hello.
And Mr. Nathan Romo.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here.
Yes, he has been with us before. So thank you guys for coming. And I guess we were just going to jump right into everything and talk about gift ideas for the blind and low vision person. And we were kind of going to segregate it into like lower priced items, mid-priced items, higher priced items. And we were going to have you each choose something in each category. And Tom, we were going to start with you to see what your item was.
Well, let's see. I mean, you could do a whole bunch of things in that range. And
so we were talking
I know
like
we
under
talked
$50.
like $150, and then below that, of course.
Right.
And our inexpensive item that I would talk about would be, and it's something that people think would be pretty trivial, but it's a liquid level indicator.
Okay, and I have
and
one.
You've got one
down
there,
here.
I think.
Yes.
And it basically assists the person, particularly the person who's maybe recently lost their sight or hasn't been blind for that long, in pouring liquids, which, like I said, I know that sounds like a trivial thing, but
Right.
it could be a disaster in a hurry.
For those of us who can't see it, it looks a little bit like a bug to me. It's got like a cube shape, and then there's three prongs. And basically, what you do is you put the prongs, and as the water level or the liquid level rises, it completes the connection there, and you can hear the chirping sound that it makes. And when it gets really full, the chirping speeds up, so it tells you you're getting close to the edge of the.
Stop!
Yes, please stop before you pour boiling hot coffee.
Well, it's
on
useful
your hand.
if you have something really hot that you're dealing with too.
Yeah, because you don't want to stick your finger in there to see where the level is.
So, yeah, I found it. You know.
Of
Yes.
the literally boiling water
Yes,
side.
yes. So this is not only handy, but it's a safety help, and it's fairly small, so you can just throw it in a bag or a purse or in a drawer in your kitchen. So
Just make sure you sterilize it first before you use it, of course.
okay, yes, wash it would be good. And where can one purchase those, and about how much would they cost?
They're like I think they're like between 20 and $30. They're pretty cheap, and you can get them. The simplest place I know to get them is through the Amazon store. You can get them through Independent Living Aids or Baxi Aids, who both, as William pointed out to me, run stores through Amazon.
Okay, so they have their own independent websites, but you can also get them on
yeah.
Amazon as well.
Yeah.
All right, and William, what was your lower priced item?
I would suggest for people with low vision that they maybe consider having writing guides that are available in several different sizes. You can get one from the size of a credit card, which allows you to put it on a document, and it allows you to sign on a particular line. Or you can have another writing guide which is the size of a full sheet of paper with various slots cut out down
So
the
you-
page, so you can just feel where.
I've got an example of a small one here.
Okay. So turn it a little bit. There you go. So it actually has a cutout there for your signature.
And this
like
is
if you're,
this is just strictly a signature guide, because that's all I ever write is just my signature.
so like for a credit
you're
card
signing a
receipt
check
in a
or-
store, or signing a check, or a.
they're handy.
Okay.
Well,
That's
and,
a good one.
And obviously you can just throw it right in your bag right there, and it even fits in a wallet,
There you
something
go.
like that. Yeah.
Well, one thing too is that for a lot of us who have not had our vision, we don't really know how to write, and so all you really do is sign your signature. Whereas if you're losing your sight, you're going to still know how to write for a while at least.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
a big one, a full page one would be very useful to you.
And there's also another type. If you still handwrite checks, there's also, if you buy a pack, they normally come with the signature size, and then a large one for a full page of paper, and there's usually a check writing guide as well,
Okay.
if you still handwrite any checks.
Okay.
But the most useful one is, like Tom showed, the signature. They fit in a wallet, and they range from a few pennies for the least expensive to around the $15 mark for a set of good quality writing guides.
Okay, so that would be a useful thing to know, basically, if you're just looking for a stocking stuffer or just a little something that would fit in a birthday card even, or just a little I'm thinking of you kind of gift.
Yep.
That would be a good thing.
Yep.
And Nathan, what is your lower cost?
Well, because I
choice.
come from a culinary background, I would suggest two things. I would suggest a talking scale and a talking thermometer.
Okay.
If you're cooking, a thermometer is extremely useful because you can stick it in there and say, okay, my steak is now 112. It's got to get a little hotter before I can take it out and really eat it, unless you want it really, really rare.
Okay.
Or you can always take a fork in, but again, if you're just get to the point where you're starting to lose your vision, then you want to trust your thermometer more than you maybe trust yourself.
Okay. Good
Also,
point.
I would recommend a talking scale, just because if you're in a situation where you have to have things measured in ounces, it'll tell you, okay, it's you have 4 ounces of flour here. You have 4 ounces of salt, or whatever your recipe calls for. You just simply turn your scale on, make sure the battery's working, of course, and fill it till it gets to the proper point where you can say, okay, I've got my 4 ounces of this and 4 ounces of that, and then you just go from there. But you definitely need something.
Okay, because that's really important in baking.
It's
and
extremely
to have
important
precise
in baking to
measurements.
have those. And even when you scale a recipe up or down, you still have to know, okay, now instead of 6 ounces, it wants 3 ounces.
And everybody likes brownies, right? So
Yes, I'm looking forward to you
Whether-
finding me
yeah.
so when we leave here, of course.
whether you can see or not, brownies are always delicious. Or
Food, you know what?
cake
Food's
or
always a great gift, okay?
cupcakes.
Never
Yes.
never turn down food.
There you go, another good gift idea,
Exactly.
right?
Definitely.
So that brings us, I guess we decided that from like $50 to about $150 range, we're calling that the mid-range. I don't know, that's probably still a lot for a lot of people, but still, some of this stuff is up there in price. So, Tom, what were you going to choose as your mid-range technology or just gift item?
Well, that's kind of a tough one,
Yeah.
because there actually are a lot of things that you could do for somebody in that mid-range.
Okay.
For a what I'll call a blindness product, and these run for between $50 and $60. A good light detector, if the person is either totally blind or even if they're visually impaired, they may not be able to see some lights. For instance, a lot of the things that we plug in, they have these little LEDs on them
Okay.
to show you that it's charging. And a good light detector can pick those up.
Okay, I was just going to ask you, so why that might be counterintuitive to some people to say, oh, a blind person needs to be able to see light. So why would that be helpful? And you just gave a good example.
Yeah,
What other?
it's absolutely critical because you have to know when these things are
Yeah.
and you have to know if you have it in if your stuff is charging, and you ideally have to know if it's done.
Yeah, I hadn't even considered that possibility. I was just thinking about turning lights off behind you to save money.
And that
That too.
Electricity,
that
but
too,
Yeah.
because I'm a total, so I don't see any light, and so for instance, I have to remember to turn lights on in my house,
Okay.
so it looks like there's somebody there.
Okay, so more for a safety issue, right? But then of course you might forget to turn them off.
Exactly.
I guess.
So
So you kinda
the light detector is good for that.
So you learn something new every day on this show.
Now,
Right.
and then for a non-blindness thing, let's just say, I would say maybe some good, some decent bone conducting earphones. Like you can get some
Okay.
from, and again, I'm not specifically recommending any brands. These are just the ones that I have. That they're called Aftershocks.
Okay.
And the nice thing about the bone conducting earphones is that they don't go in your ears, which of course as a blind person is very important for safety, particularly if you're out and around like I am, going to and from work and whatnot.
You need to be able to hear the traffic.
You have to be able to hear what's going on.
And you can't just plug
And
your ears.
these look like this.
Okay.
And I don't know how much this will show, but they go on like this. And see these two
You look
little
very high tech. Like
these two little pads. It actually uses your skull to
Vibrate.
to resonate. It's pretty much the same way that you hear yourself talking,
right.
and they're really neat technology. I really like them.
And I was going to say something like really tackle, like some people have emptier heads than others, so
Well,
It should
they
button
get
it up
better
really well
sound.
then.
Or
probably so.
I shouldn't say stuff like that. This is on TV.
Oh,
sorry.
I don't know. We're here to have fun
But
and
so
inform people.
Exactly.
what ballpark are we talking about cost-wise for those now?
These are for this set. These are around 100, give
Yeah,
or
just
take.
under 100.
Okay.
Last time I checked Amazon 2 days ago.
Okay, not that you want them or anything.
No, I want the more expensive ones.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully some members of your family will see this and
I know, right?
know what to buy you for your birthday
It's
or
the
something.
It's the Trek Z ones, okay?
Okay.
They're the ones I want. I'm kidding.
All right. Well, I'm sure you can get all kinds of really high-tech ones.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the thing with, as well, going back to Tom's idea of the colour light detector,
Okay.
is if you're blind or visually impaired, quite a lot of the time, well, with visually impaired people, you also lose any colour vision or partial colour vision. So it's easy to just put on any clothes. So if you want to make sure that you're going out properly dressed and not in a pink shirt with a green jacket and purple tie,
Very colorful.
which may cause a
Unless you
shock.
really want attention, of course.
Right. That could happen.
Yeah.
So this is a color detector, and it will tell you what color something is, right?
Yes, and often the colour detectors are actually incorporated in a light detector, so it
Be a
allows you
double.
give you a double duty, which is very good considering cost.
Okay. And because I have heard that there are apps on your phones for the color detectors, but they're not as
The light
good.
detector too, yeah.
I've had very poor luck with them. I've
Okay.
fooled with a few of them because I
Okay.
said, oh great, now I don't have to buy one of these things.
Right.
But yeah, I've not had good luck with them.
Okay. So an actual dedicated
Unit.
Unit
There just
would be
there is
better
there
way
are
to
It's
go.
times
generally better.
when you just have to buy the dedicated hardware.
Now,
Okay.
I do have a light detector program I've been playing with actually that does work pretty well. It doesn't work quite as well as his light detector, where I can't see like individual lights on an item, but I can generally tell if the light level it goes up quite a bit or not. Like in here, it would easily be able to tell.
Right. We
And it
actually
just
have a lot of
some of it
lights
depends
going
just on the kind of phone you have and the sensitivity of the camera.
And what applications?
But
you're
again, it
gonna
depends
use
on what your
for.
needs are. I mean,
Yeah.
if your needs are basic, then you may not need these items. You just simply find the apps, and with Android, there are a lot of free apps that you can try, and you might
Okay.
find something that works. And if that doesn't, then I'd say it's time to look at the specialized products.
Because I think a lot of people don't even know there is such a thing as a color detector, or that there's an app even, or
Exactly.
a dedicated unit. So they just have been going out in purple and pink and
Or you ask somebody and
orange
say, "Hey,
clothes, I
does this
guess.
match?"
I don't know.
Now, of course,
Most
if your
people
significant
just-
other is having a bad day and doesn't like you that day, oh, sure, this looks really good.
Yeah, that's true.
And the next thing you know, it's like, what have you done to me?
Yes. Yes, that's true. So you've chosen a color detector, William, or do you have another choice for your mid-range?
Oh, no, I was just reflecting on Tom's.
Okay.
For my
you got
choice,
there?
I would have, since I have very low vision, I would go with a nice electronic magnifier. And this is a fairly basic model. It allows you to, it has its own lighting system. If you put it on a piece of paper, you can change the contrast levels. So if you can see inverted text with white letters on a black background,
Okay.
this
So it'll
will allow
increase
you
the
to do that.
contrast as well as make
Yeah.
it larger?
Yeah, It can zoom up to
And once
about
you
30
turn that around
times.
so they can.
And it allows you to change the background colours, so white on black with text in white, or black on yellow to increase any contrast. It will even do blue on yellow in case that is the area of the spectrum that you can still see. And as I say, it has its own lights, it's battery operated, rechargeable, and it's fairly efficient, and I use it pretty much every day.
Okay, so thank you for sharing with us about that magnifier. That sounds like a good idea. So Nathan, let's jump to you for your mid-range item. What you think would be a good gift idea?
Well, I think I'm going to recommend a piece of software actually, and it's called the KNFB reader. What it does is you take your smartphone, whether it's Android or Apple, iPhones,
Okay.
and you put your document in front of the camera and you use this piece of software, and what it does is it reads the text from that document and it reads it out to you. So like with a piece of mail, let's say you have a bill, it basically takes a picture of the bill and then it tells you, this is your PG&E bill, this is what you paid last month, this is how much your bill is currently due. And it's very, very affordable. And again, it works on Apple and Android, and it's under 100 last time I checked, unless the price has gone up lately, which I don't think so.
Okay, so just to say that more slowly, it's the
KNFB reader.
NFB reader.
Correct.
And I know William has this, right? And it
Yeah.
basically makes your phone into a little scanner.
Yes.
Exactly.
It scans the item, and then the screen reader will then read what you've scanned. Right?
Exactly.
So it's good. I know you've used it for menus.
Yeah.
You said mail.
Exactly.
It's very good for printed material. It doesn't actually work for handwriting
That's
or
true.
anything that is in a cursive script. So it's slightly limited, but what I like about it as well is as you set up the camera, it will also give you feedback. So your phone will vibrate to tell you whether the camera is level. So you've got haptic feedback that way. And then it will also tell you by taking an initial photograph, it says if you can see the top and bottom edges and the left and right edges
So you don't have to
of a
just
page.
guess.
No.
Right, yeah, the feedback is really good in the program.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know I've seen William use it for just like a magazine article that he wanted to read. I think, didn't you do a National Geographic article?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he doesn't read that level of Braille. So it was just a quick fix to be able to read something.
Yeah, it's just real quick and convenient.
I mean, you
Okay.
can't read a whole book with the thing easily, but
I
if you
wouldn't
just want to
recommend it,
do
yeah.
something
Yeah.
quick to read, at least you know what something is. It's very useful, that sort of thing.
Okay, so the KNFB reader, and you can
Right.
get that on an app store, basically?
You can get it on the Android App Store, Play Store, or the what's it called,
Apple
Tom?
App
The
Store.
Apple
Yeah.
App Store.
E-
Apple.
Either one.
iTunes, kind of
Yeah.
Apple Store?
The Apple Store,
One of
yeah.
those two things. All right. So let's think now, like if you have someone in your life who really, really loves you, and they just, money is no object where you're concerned. So anything like $200 and above, what would be on your wish list for somebody to give you something like that? Tom, what would you pick?
Well, William already kind of mentioned this, but I'm going to go into more detail. It was one of the Omni barcode readers, or I forget what the current one is.
Okay.
And they are another piece of the specialized hardware. And for myself, I try to stay away from this specialized hardware as much as possible, just because, just frankly, it is hugely overpriced.
Okay.
Because we're a small market, and they're going to make their money one way or the other. But the barcode scanner is just one thing that there is no way to do without it. If you want to almost always be able to pick up a can of something and know what it is.
Yes.
Okay, so I was just going to ask, why would that be useful? We used the example earlier of going to the grocery store and buying green beans. How do you know it's green beans as opposed to peaches or something else?
It's really more for when you get home, because truthfully, as a practical matter, I mean, as a blind person, when you go to the store, you're going to get somebody to help you. You're not going to walk around with this thing and try to, you're going to be at the store for 12 hours.
Most
Scanning
likely,
500
yeah.
items. Okay, so
But it's
once
really
you get
more
home,
for when you get home.
right? So you just basically scan a can or anything, really. It doesn't have to be a can,
No.
right? Anything with a barcode on it, right?
And virtually anything that you get these days has a barcode on it.
Right. And so would that be better than some of the apps out there? I mean, because it's a pretty pricey item. How
Yeah.
much would you say that this runs?
They're about $1,200.
$1,200.
It's the Quest, if I'm not mistaken. Tom.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
the Quest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, there's one newer than
There is a
that.
newer one. I don't know what it's called though.
Neither do I.
It runs on an Android device, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe it does.
So basically, why would that be better than just a barcode reader from your phone on an app?
Because at least, I mean, for somebody like William might be able to line one of those up, but for a total, it's virtually impossible to line those things up.
Okay, so it's a logistic problem of actually finding a barcode.
Yeah, which they're very small. For those of you who've, not actually tried to look at one, they're very small.
Okay.
And you can't feel them, so there's no way to know where it is.
See,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Tom, no, I was just going to say, this is something that I know Tom likes to call people who can see sightlings. So for us sightlings, that you wouldn't even think about as being a problem or an issue, right? Of not being able to find the barcode for barcodes, because I have a barcode scanner on my phone, an app, right, just to look up books or things like that. But if you don't know where the barcode is, right, so how does this find the barcode?
It uses a very wide scanner. It actually, see, your camera uses a lens, and so you have to actually line that up. Like I'm
Okay.
sure you've noticed, you have to line that thing up
You
pretty
do.
carefully for it to work.
Yes.
But these Omnis or these Quests, they use an actual laser scanner. If that thing is anywhere close, it will see it.
Okay. And how does it keep track of all the barcodes? Is
It
there?
has a very large, a very, very, very large database.
Okay. And do you have to update that
You
database
do.
occasionally?
You do.
Okay, so you have to plug it in your computer and get updates.
Actually, these new ones, they just download over the air.
They download, yeah, as long as you have an internet connection, they'll
Yeah.
download the database
wirelessly.
and
So,
keep that up to date.
very cool.
And see, what happens is it's in scanning mode, and so it's continuously, you can have it in scanning mode for say 3 minutes, and all that time you're rotating your can
to
or
try
moving
to
your
find
box,
it.
and so it'll find it, whereas on your phone, you take a picture because it assumes that you have the barcode already lined up.
Okay.
So you can't move it and keep moving your camera over the item until it finally finds the barcode. You have to, with the phone, you have to have it lined up.
Actually, some of the phone apps, I mean, they do work almost in a video mode, but it's still almost impossible.
They're hard. I've tried. I've
Okay.
never been able to get one to work.
All right. So that's an
that's
excellent
my thing.
suggestion. So that's your high-priced, high-ticket item.
Ridiculously expensive thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry that it's so much because it sounds like a helpful thing to have. William, what do you use your go-to? I'm gonna have to pay attention here. What is your high-ticket item that I need to start saving up for?
Actually, I can say you don't need to start saving up.
Oh, good.
Unless you want to buy me the latest versions of.
Okay.
Because I am an avid Apple fan. So items like iPhone or the iPad are really, really good multi-purpose instruments for me.
Yeah, I believe last year that was our anniversary gift to ourselves, was to buy you an iPhone,
Yes.
if I remember correctly.
Well, Very
Okay,
nice.
so why do you like these? Why are they helpful to you?
First thing is they're versatile. I can switch on VoiceOver, which comes already as standard within the software, and VoiceOver or Siri will read text messages to me or tell me who's calling. I can tell Siri to call a particular phone number. I can go onto Kindle app and play even books that don't have text-to-speech enabled on Kindle. I can use the Kindle app with VoiceOver to read books as well. And it's basically just very easy to use in themselves. I don't need to worry about missing any messages. I can easily move around.
And we all know iPhones are expensive, and they have the newest one out. But I don't know how much it is if you just to buy it. I know you can get with your plan and all that stuff. But
You're going to pay about $700 at least.
okay.
If you get it the whole thing and don't like make payments and all that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know it comes with a lot of accessibilities, and now I believe it's Tom who's not the Apple person. He's more of an Android platform.
It's both of us actually.
Oh,
But I use both.
You're outnumbered.
You're outnumbered, William.
But no, I use both. I mean,
Okay.
I have my MacBook and I have my iPad, so no, you can't really say I'm not an Apple person.
Okay.
Well-
so you have.
But I am an Android guy on my phones.
Okay. But they have accessibility features like William's talking about as well.
Yes, they absolutely do.
Okay. So it's just a kind of a personal preference issue. All right. So this brings us, Nathan, to your high-end item that you would
Ooh, there's
recommend.
so
or pick.
many.
Yeah, I know. You got to pick one.
Okay, high-end item. Well, okay. There's something I wouldn't mind actually. It's one of these new talking pressure cookers. They're like $200.
Oh, really?
And the way it works is that
And what
you
does it say? Do you like it's
you-
hot in here? Or
well, we already know that, but
sorry.
no. What it does is you enable Bluetooth connection through your phone, and you have complete control over the device through Bluetooth. You can set the temperature, you can set the timer,
Wow.
all that you can set like remotely through your phone. So you don't have to worry about, well, what button does what on this device? Do I push it this many times to get it to do this? Do I have the timer set
So
right?
otherwise, we have to memorize all that.
Otherwise, you have to memorize it. Yeah, there's no way.
Really?
There's no way to label these, unfortunately,
Like,
because the functions change sometimes when you hit the button more than once.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't read the screens on these devices because it's no whole big thing. But that's pretty much at the top of my list. And because I am a culinary school graduate, also, I'm looking at some of the air fryers. They're deep fat fryers, but they use air to do the convection.
You don't put oil in them.
Instead of oil,
Yeah.
right? And there's the decent ones. You're looking at like $200 to $300.
I'm actually tempted to get one of those too.
Oh, I'm gonna get one at some
Okay.
point. They're nice.
so an air fryer.
Right.
So it works on
It uses compressed air basically.
Superheated air.
superheated air.
You use like a tiny bit of oil, but you don't use oil the way you do like with a conventional fryer, where you fill the basket up. And I mean, I can use a conventional fryer perfectly fine, but they're so messy.
And it's probably healthier if you're just.
It's a much
using
more healthier.
air
That's
than
from all the accounts I've
oil.
read. Yes, definitely a lot healthier.
I had not heard of those, so.
They're
said, you learned
relatively
something.
new.
They're fairly new.
In the
Yeah, in the last couple of
consumer-
years.
In the consumer industry.
Oh no, there's
Okay.
there's always something culinary I can think of. Trust me, just
All right,
because with
so
the background.
Yeah, Nathan's our cooking.
are-
He's about to take a pastry.
Baking
course,
and pastry class.
right?
Yes, I start in January. Now, I did want to go back, if I can
Okay.
allow it myself to put this in. I did want to give a shout out to my school, Institute of Technology, because they are the ones who actually did buy me the talking barcode scanner when I was in school.
Okay.
And so I did want to say thank you, because that is so, it is so useful. Tom, you used mine.
Yeah,
It's-
I played with yours a little bit.
It's very, very nice to have, because
they're simply indispensable. I mean, particularly
If you
know,
have
you're-
cans, if you have
if you're
things.
a blind person, particularly if you live by yourself or if you're both
brownie
blind,
box.
then they're indispensable, and quite frankly, most of us can't afford them.
Well, I had a situation
Yeah,
come up where I had to use it the other day because I was at the store and I got OxyClean and I got like the dishwasher packets. And you can't tell normally which one is which, actually, because they both come in a Ziploc bag. They're both those little packets, and so there's no easy way to say, okay, is this OxyClean or is this, the Cascade dishwasher packets? And so I actually had to scan the barcode, and lucky for me, it scanned on one of them, so then I knew what the other one was, and it's like, ooh, okay, gotta figure this out.
Okay.
And I didn't have anyone at the time to tell me this is this and this is that, so And again, becoming blind, you may or may not have that. You may not have
Yeah.
someone that can, trust me, if you can, that makes life
Then that's great. But
10, 20 times easier. But if you don't, then you don't. I did want to go back really quickly to one of the items that's like under 150.
Okay.
Because this fits in well too, as I was going to suggest the Amazon Fire tablets, because they are
I was too. Those are awesome.
they're a good alternative to the Apple iPads and Apple iPhones,
Or
because
the more expensive Android tablet.
right, they again, you can do what you normally could with any Android device, plus books are there, music's there, and again, if you're a book reader, then it matters. If you're not a book reader, well then you're not going to appreciate it. But if you are a book reader, you can still read even though you lose your vision, or even though your vision becomes dramatically less. You can still do this stuff. You just find different ways to do it.
Okay. Well, that's good. It sounds like people who know you have some shopping to do, right? And some.
Absolutely.
And I was going to mention, I know, just like anybody else, probably gift cards are always a good idea to their favorite
Yes.
store, or, blind people like to go out to eat or buy new clothes or
New speakers.
So some people get intimidated about buying gifts for people, but those are always welcome gifts, I would think. Is that
Right.
true?
Oh, sure. That's always a nice, easy thing.
Absolutely.
And then you can
Absolutely.
pick exactly what it is that you'd like. So we're going to be wrapping it up here today. We've talked about a lot of things. Do you guys have any last minute gift ideas, or just something to throw out there regardless?
Well, I'll just say that, I hope we've given people some ideas, and just keep in mind, both low tech and high tech things are both good. I'm a nerd and I'm a tech guy. And I think tech is a game changer for us.
Yeah.
I've been in the tech industry, and I've seen what changes we've seen, and it's just amazing. I could have spent this half hour just talking about the changes I've seen, and I'm not that old.
Okay. Well, we'll have another show, and
We'll
maybe
have-
that can be the topic.
Yeah, we can do like a history show.
Yes, the history of technology. And William, any last minute thoughts or ideas?
I would say always remember that blind people are just people, visually, or blind or visually impaired. So if someone, as Nathan and Tom have said, if someone enjoyed something before they lost their vision, then they're probably still going to enjoy it afterwards. So if someone enjoyed reading, then a subscription to buy books, or gift cards that would allow them to buy audiobooks from bookstores or wherever. Just think of them as normal people, not as being blind or visually impaired.
Okay. Good point. Nathan?
I guess it's my turn.
I
to
know you-
Make the great speech, right? Okay. Well,
You
what
did
I
mention a couple of extra things already, but we'll let you go one more
Oh,
time.
thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate that. No, what I would suggest is that if you are losing your vision, have lost your vision, or even know somebody who is losing their vision or has lost their vision, this is not the end of the world. You can view it that way, or you can say, this is a challenge and I will do my very best to adapt and learn from it and grow from it. The choice is entirely yours.
That's an excellent point. So, and you're not the only one. As the show, the big message of this whole program is you're not alone, right? There are people
Yes,
who
absolutely.
can help you or help you deal with this. So I guess that would be an excellent place to end our program today, with those positive words. So thank you so much for joining us, Tom and William and Nathan. You've given us a lot to think about, and shopping lists to help us make. So thank you for joining us for another episode. And as usual, if you have any comments or suggestions, please email the producer who is with us here today, and he will be happy to get back to you. And hope you will join us for another episode of Blindside Fresno. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.